This episode of the Brutally Speaking podcast is brought to you by On Point Pomade. Keep your beard and hair looking on point with their line of pomades and beard oils over at onpointpomade.com. Use our code BSP15 at checkout and get 15% off your total purchase order. So thanks again to On Point Pomade for sponsoring our show. This episode is also sponsored by the Bean Bastard Coffee. Head over to thebeanbastard.com and pick up any one of their delicious hand-roasted coffees. Coffee lovers will also enjoy their hand-cut and handmade espresso candles and soaps as well. If you're in the Buffalo, New York area, head to their store located at 448 Elmwood Avenue. And thanks again to the Bean Bastard for supporting this show. The Speaking Podcast is proudly sponsored by Rockabilia.com. With over 500,000 officially licensed items in their online store, you're guaranteed to find something you need. Use our code BRUTALLY and get 10% off your total purchase order. Now on to the show.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing. This rings true because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, and if you're not having fun doing it, you're gonna give up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Brutally Speaking Podcast. I am your host, John, and this episode's guest is Tyler Tate, returning frontman from Hollowfront. This was a really fun chat. I haven't gotten to have Tyler on in quite a while, even though we've kind of been circling around the idea of doing it. But finally, with the band kind of getting ready to hit the road with Fit for a King, and, just kind of making a name for themselves on the national touring scene, opening that We Came as Romans tour that just went through. And literally, I think today they are starting the Fit for a King tour in St. Louis, I believe, as of when I'm recording this. But this was really interesting. Tyler and I have run into each other a few times at various shows, and it's one of those where we kind of have these conversations just kind of about finding our way through the industry and kind of finding our way almost at the same time, kind of mirroring each other of sorts, where the band kind of really started making a name for itself with their Still Life EP, as well as the actual title track from the EP, Still Life. And it's funny, like, the band was just going through so much change at the time, with some of the band, no longer being in the band, some new members coming in at the time. And as you'll hear in the chat, Tyler was even like, I was about to be done with Hollowfront and probably music as a whole. And I wasn't quite necessarily there myself with the podcast, but it was one of those where it was kind of a turning point for me for the podcast where, started kind of branching out, brought Dan along, kind of got ready to change the name. And there's just so many parallels. And I think the other thing too that's interesting about our journeys collectively is we're both from here in Grand Rapids. And I know that may not seem like much of a big deal, but it is one of those where there's just kind of this symbiotic relationship, I feel like, between, Hollowfront, or I'll more put it on Tyler and I, where it's just interesting to see someone else kind of go through some of the same growing pains and kind of going through some of the same, I don't want to call them issues, but it is kind of interesting when I know for me, and I'll speak for me, I know when this podcast kind of started gaining some popularity and some success, it was one of those things where people I had reached out to before wanted nothing to do with the show, all of a sudden started seeing value in either the show, the connections I had made, whatever. And it was one of those where it kind of was one of my first examples of like a little bit of success, and then you kind of see all these people kind of coming out of the woodwork as it were, and kind of wanting things, or thinking you can help them or do something for them. And it's like, I mean, I can't, but also, why would I want to help you when you didn't want to support me? And I know that sounds really shitty, but it is one of those things that I think was a really interesting learning point for me doing this podcast. It was something that I've taken and applied it to my actual like day-to-day life, which is, you got to pay attention to how people treat you, because because it is one of those things where people will treat you a certain way because they feel like there is a perceived value that you have for them. What can they get off of you? What can you do for them? As the old adage goes. And it's one of those things for me where kind of being successful in this part of it really opened my eyes to seeing how no one wants to fuck with you when your perception of you is not very high. But when you start gaining some traction and some success, then all of a sudden everyone seemingly is like, oh, okay, I see you're doing something. So like, let me go kind of like try to get into that and see if I can't boost myself, my own worth or whatever. And it's funny, there's a show that I used to watch with my wife called $1 Million Listing. And I forget which one of the characters said this, but there was actually, no, I take that back. It was not a show called $1 Million Listing. It's a completely different quote that I try to use and apply, and it's expansion in always and all ways. That is a Ryan Serhant quote. The quote I'm actually thinking of, I believe, is from Action Bronson. I was watching an Action Bronson Fuck That's Delicious episode, and he makes the comment, your net work is your net worth. And I was like, fuck, that's right on the fucking money. And I think that applies not only to some of the things that I've endured in the music business and really correlating to the podcast, but I think more so just kind of life, man. Like, I try to surround myself with good people. People who strive to make me want to be a better person, make me want to get up and go do big, awesome shit, whether it be before the podcast or just in my life. And seeing the success that Tyler and Hollowfront has had in the time since we last talked has been really, really awesome to see, especially being a band from Grand Rapids. I think one of the last bigger bands to kind of do it from this area in the last couple of years, I would say, and not couple, but in the last few years has been, this isn't a new band by any stretch, but for me would have been like with Law Dispute or Still Remains. Those are bands that have, put their stamp on hard rock, whatever, but they kind of carried the flag for Grand Rapids. And I think Hollowfront is kind of the next big band to do that. They don't shy away from the fact that this is where they're from. So it was really good getting to catch up with Tyler and just kind of pick his brain a little bit and just kind of catch up, because sometimes that is the fun thing about doing this podcast, is getting to just kind of talk and have a conversation with my friends. So without further ado, this is my conversation with Tyler, and I will see you all on the other side of it. Do all this and sound smart.
Well, I'm sure you've used this many more times than I have.
Yeah, I suppose home court advantage is a thing for this. It's so wild. I was thinking actually back to when you were in this same room, but like how completely different the office is now and my setup is compared to what it was when you were all here last time, and just how fucking everything has changed for both of us in completely different facets. Like, the lineup at the time, Dakota was new. You guys said, I think we're getting ready to put out Still Life. I think you were giving me the EP before it was even coming out and asking me like how I felt about it and all that kind of stuff. And to see, where everything is now, it's just, it's crazy. It's been like, what, I think 3 or 4 years?
3 years. Yeah. A little bit over, Still Life turned 3 in June, so yeah, almost 3.5 years or so. So
yeah, Jesus, yeah. Where does the time go?
I don't know, man. We're old, and shit just keeps going faster and faster. I was just thinking, thinking back to a time in 2020. I was like, man, that was 2 years ago, but fuck, it doesn't feel like 2 years ago.
Well, I feel like that's the hard part. I feel like I was doing a chat earlier with Steve from Wolves at the Gate, and it was a thing where he was talking about having kids, and he had twins, and they're 5 now, and I think he said his newest kid is, I think, still under a year old. But it was, as he was talking, he's like, like when we last played shows in 2019, and I was like, that's not that. I was like, oh fuck, we're in. No, it's been a hot minute. Like in my head, it just seems like since the pandemic, it almost just doesn't seem like that time has existed because everything kind of came to a standstill. That it almost mentally doesn't feel like that even happened. Like that we're still in like 2020 in my head, kind of.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously there wasn't much going on for 2 years, so it's kind of we're all catching up.
How, I mean, I've talked to some people that have toured, but like I haven't really talked to anyone that that I know locally. But I mean, how was touring for you during this? Because I mean, it really was I'd say one of your first bigger opportunities to tour on that level and play in those rooms. How was it to kind of get out and kind of experience a lot of firsts for the band, but in the weird climate we're in, where it's like you're in your tight bubbles and all that kind of shit?
It was definitely strange and something that I wasn't used to, and like we got in trouble a few times, to be honest, with the touring package, because it's like you're playing this show, it was our first shows back in 2 years, and like we had never toured like on that level. We were touring with like smaller bands doing like 50 people a night rooms, where this is like, 1,000 people a night, and all those people there, not everyone was there to see us, but a lot of people that were there to see us, and like them wanting to meet us was like, that's my favorite part of playing shows, to be honest. Like I love the show playing, but I enjoy like meeting people. So yeah, that not being able to do that was kind of whack. Couldn't go to the merch table. Couldn't hang out in the venue unless you were backstage, but sometimes the venues didn't have a backstage. So you were kind of stuck in your bus, or if it's warm outside, you can obviously hang out outside. I did a lot of my meeting people outside. But yeah, I got in trouble one night because we were in Atlanta and I was out at the merch guy. I was just checking on the merch guy, and a couple of people came up, and I don't have the ability to just say fuck off, like because like it's just not me, especially in that kind of a circumstance, So I talked to some people, and then more people came, and then more people came, and then more, and then all of a sudden I get a text from We Came as Romans being like, "Yo, like you're not supposed to be out there." And I'm like, "Fuck off." I was like, now I said fuck off. Now I'm like, fuck off. I gotta go. I got in trouble.
Yeah, you're costing me my per diem for the next 2 days.
Yeah, so it was strange, and it wasn't just the shows either. It was just like the country as a whole. Like nothing's open past 9:00. Like unless you're getting like gas station food, and if you're lucky, there's a Wawa or a Sheetz or a Buc-ee's or any of those kind of like or truck stops might have something that's like cooked. But yeah, so that sucked because we get out of the show and it'd be like, well, now we're all starving and there's nothing to eat. And yeah, like had to wear masks everywhere. I mean, it was crazy because different parts of the country were different. You go to Texas and they're like, we don't wear masks down here, like that kind of shit. Like, it's like they gave us the dirty looks for wearing the mask. And then you go to,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, then you go to like like New York City or any of those like northern cities that are just like still kind of doing their lockdown thing with requiring masks and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's been the interesting thing, the part of, at least Bridget and I traveling, we've been in the last, 2 years, we've been to San Antonio, which very much like you said, where it's like pretty much you're not wearing a mask, no one gives a fuck, and you're like, all right, Atlanta, I think at this point I've been probably 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years, and like one time it was like masks everywhere till you like sit down or whatever. This last time I went, it was like no one seemed to give a shit.
Right.
And it's tough because I mean, like, it was weird, like, going to Buffalo for Tid the season. We went to this dive bar we always go to, the Pink, and it's like, for a super local reference, it's like, think Mulligan's, but like you have to show your proof of vaccination to get in. And I'm like, to go to fucking this bar, like it's
Damn.
a shithole, and I love it, but it's like, yo, like I have to I have to prove my vaccination to get in here. Like, okay. Like, it's one of those, like, where it's like you do what you have to do in order to, like, wherever you are. But it just kind of, I think, showcases just how, to me, without getting like super political, where it's like the way that our country is set up, where it's like you have the president, and then you have the elected officials under that, and then like all the way down to your elected officials local, like here in like your own city or your own town. That it's like, I remember when the pandemic was like just going, and like 4th of July was coming, and I think it was the dude over in, I think it was whoever in like Holland or one of those adjacent cities or towns, and like their city official was like, fuck Whitmer or whatever, fuck her, like
probably Grand Haven.
Maybe, and they were like, fuck that, like we can't afford to lose out on all the money, the tourism and shit. We're fucking staying open, like fuck it. And it was just like, and that's part of the problem. Like, you can't have someone go like, I say this, and then someone else go, fuck you, and then like someone else on a smaller scale is like, well, no, fuck you, I agree with the person above you, and then you're just in this state of like chaos. And it's like, I feel like that would be, it has been kind of challenging traveling to know what you're doing. And thankfully, I would say between you guys touring, having tour routing TMs and all that kind of stuff, being able to kind of help guide you through all this as much as they can. That was my wife, basically, like, getting to Vegas, and it's like, we had all of our reservations for everywhere because you needed them. So it's like, we knew where we were going to be, when we were eating, where we were eating, what we were eating, and where we needed to be. And it's like, it's kind of weird being on a trip like that, because it's very much like being on tour with a day sheet where you're like, okay, this is where I need to be and when I need to be there. But it does allow you to not have that shittiness of like, well, I didn't fucking know I needed this because I'm in somewhere new. But it's just challenging. It's a very weird time. Plus, I've said all along, I feel like touring, the two big aspects that would be the most fun are getting to hang out with people and traveling around the city if you can, and you can't do either of those things. So it's like, really all you get to do is that set that you have, and that's it.
Yeah, and the traveling around the city is just pretty much not going to happen, because unless you're Ubering places, which is just not really in our budget, we're not trying to spend a bunch of money on Ubers, and we're stuck in the kind of the vicinity of the venue where our bus is. We can't, because it's not like we can just our bus. We don't have like a regular van. We have like a shuttle bus, so you can't really like unhook it and just drive off. It's just like, so yeah, it's even harder when you get out of a show and you're like, I just played now, because I don't eat before I play, because I don't want to be up there like bloated or just feeling like shit. And you get off stage, you're like, all right, I'm hungry, and then you struggle to find food because everything's fucking closed. That shit sucks. I'm hoping that it's a little different on this upcoming tour that we're about to do, but it hasn't been that long, so it probably won't be.
I think that's been like the crazy thing to me, and that was actually, as stupid as this to admit, that was my big realization of the world we live in and how much the pandemic has affected, jobs and just things not being open, was getting out at the bar after I closed and going like, all right, I'm going to go to like Grand Coney, or I'm going to go to this and go get some food real quick. And nothing was open. I had to go to the Meijer gas station and ask for, and it was closed, and be like, hey, can I just get a pizza? Like, what, like, just get me like a cheese pizza from in there. And they were about to close like at 2:00 in the morning. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like nothing is open. Like if you work a second or third shift, you are essentially fucked for anything.
Yeah. Unless you're a factory worker or something like that.
Yeah. So that was the thing that put it into perspective for me of just how much all of this is like affected, local economy and just everything in general. As stupid as it is to say.
I'm honestly surprised that Michigan hasn't. I think not to be more political, but I think Whitmer got bullied enough to where, because like places like California and like New York, they reinstated masks, like after they'd taken them, after they'd taken them away, they reinstated them because of Omicron or what Delta or whatever Alpha, Beta, Omega fucking strain or whatever we got going on now. I'm just surprised that we haven't, Michigan, once they took the masks off, we haven't been told to put them back on. I mean, businesses ask you to wear them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's weird. I don't know, trying to think of something else to talk about, but it's the unfortunate thing of that was something that I know you and I had talked about while you were out, because I think we missed each other in Atlanta by I think a day or two, because I happened to be out there with Bridget and them, and I think you guys were coming. I think either had just gotten there or were getting ready to play the Masquerade within a couple of days. But yeah. I don't know, it's been so weird because it's so funny to think about, it's hard not to look at life, as almost getting ready to turn 40, thinking about the podcast turned 5 late last year. We're over 300 episodes, so it's there's kind of these milestones, and to kind of look back and getting to talk to some of the same people from in the early beginnings of this show. Excuse me. It's kind of hard not to just kind of be a little bit nostalgic and think about things. And you had made a post the other day on Facebook that I thought was really funny, but it kind of was, I think, more of a bigger narrative of just, you were talking about sort of the attitude kind of people now in the scene, or what little bit of a scene there is here. And it's kind of funny because I feel like growing up, and I know we're not too far removed in age, but I feel like metal and hardcore was a thing that we all went to kind of feel this, I don't want to say refuge necessarily, but to feel a sense of belonging, to, to see friends, and you knew people in bands, and it was a community. And I don't feel like that exists anymore. And I don't know if it's because of the lack of quote unquote borders that the internet has allowed us all to explore beyond just our own backyards and create a much bigger network and community. But I don't feel like there's a sense of community anymore. And I feel like what little bit I see of it here locally, and when I kind of travel around, I just feel like everyone just shits on everyone else. And I know that's kind of always the way things are. People always talk you behind your back, but it's one of those where I feel like the people who are consistently stuck doing the same shit, it's always everyone else's fault. It's always some opportunity that fucked them over or whatever they didn't get. And you always hear that. Whereas I feel like the successful people like yourselves kind of just keep your heads down. You pay attention. You actually listen to the people who are in positions that you want to be in, and you did the work. You did it quietly. And I feel like that's a thing that I don't know if anyone's really ever expressed to you, that that's something I've noticed, but I feel like that has been your success, is you kind of blocked out everything else and just kind of kept your head down and did the work and let the music literally speak for itself.
Hard for me. I'm the band member that talks shit back to people on Facebook and shit. I think that's a struggle for me. I agree with what you're saying about shit's different, from 15, 16 years ago. It was like you showed up at a shitty dive bar, like a VFW or some kind of, and you knew everybody there, and it's like the internet came along. I mean, the internet was here, but it was, it wasn't here to the extent that it is. And it's kind of driven people apart. I feel like people are more antisocial now than ever, even though they're social mediating. They're doing it from behind a screen, not really, in person. When I go to local shows, I don't recognize a single person. Maybe it's just I'm getting old. But it's and plus they don't. I mean, Grand Rapids itself just doesn't have a scene, really. No, not like a local scene, anyway.
But it's weird because I felt like at the time I feel like it was like you guys, Sleepwaker, Seraphim, there was a handful of what I'll call buddy bands or brother bands, and I feel like you guys all kind of lifted each other up, and most of you kind of have had good success at this point, getting signed and touring and putting out good music and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, I feel like it's hard because it's I don't understand why you were able to have and find success, and other people who seemingly had the same opportunities couldn't?
Look,
Well,
the internet. Honestly, the internet helped too. Like as much as it's divided a scene, it helped us. Um, we got lucky and we caught the attention of people that had a name in the industry and was able to like guide us, like our manager Ryan Kirby, came out
current
of
informer.
nowhere. Yeah, he came out of nowhere and was just like introduced us to all these people, and I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that's a big part. It's who you know. But it also came. We caught his attention by having, decent sounding recordings and like professional looking music videos and that kind of a atmosphere. Keeping our head down, like I don't know. I've never been like super controversial person, and I don't. I'll never say I've never talked shit about a band because I'm sure I have, but I don't trash talk bands anymore like I used to, as a younger person because now I understand that no matter what, even if I don't like the band, if they're doing what they want to do and they love it, that's what you should do. Not all these people shitting on all other bands and trying to act cool, and it's just like those people are the dudes that are going to keep playing those local shows and keep complaining that they're not getting anywhere because such and such has happened to them, or this and this and this hasn't happened for them. Why aren't we been a band for so long? Why aren't we headlining shows? And it's like, well, maybe it's because you're sitting too much time on the internet bitching about it.
When I was thinking back to our first chat, something I remembered asking you, because at the time you were really nervous about, your kind of more, I'll say, more emotional vocal delivery on a song. You're like, it's not all aggressive. Like there's kind of singing for me. I think is how you labeled it at the time. And, I remember telling you, like, I think this is where growth happens. Like, stretching outside of what you're comfortable doing and finding more of your voice and finding more comfortability in the uneasiness of like, this makes me feel uncomfortable, but I'm really proud of it because I had to go and grow beyond what I know and what I do, my comfort zone. And I feel like at the time you were so worried about how everyone was going to react to it, and I feel like that was such a pivotal moment for the band. Like I feel like that literally was a turning point for the band to get more recognition, more eyes, more ears on the project and on the band. I haven't really talked to you since to ask this, but like, what has that song meant to you looking back on it now? Like, is it funny to you how worried you were about it then compared to like what you're doing and what you've done since as far as like vocally and sound wise with the band?
It's not surprising because I literally worry about everything. I'm an anxious person. But at the time it was a weird time for Holofront because like Dakota had just joined, Brandon had just joined, Cody was still in the band. He's not in the band anymore. It was kind of, Still Life to me was kind of like a last ditch effort. I was kind of like, I was starting to feel like I was going to be over, like the band was going to be over because I was just kind of over, struggling. And then like Still Life was that pick me up. That song means a lot to me just because not only is it like our most viewed video, it's pretty high up on our Spotify. Like it's not just that, it's like that song actually saved the band because of its, almost immediate attention. Whereas like before, like I was worried because like I had all these new members. I didn't know what we were going to do. I was worried that it wasn't heavy enough anymore because I don't know why I was worrying like that. That's just what I was, because it was so much different than our previous EP. And then obviously, yeah, like the new stuff now is like completely different. I feel like even from Still Life, it's got, Dakota singing in it, and it's got, every band member has got their own thing going now. With Devin, Lee, because Lee's now in the band. Lee wasn't in the band when, last time we were hanging out with you. but yeah, like that song was kind of like that stepping stone to get us in front of those eyes that needed to see us. Like I'm sure Ryan and them, like that's how they first heard of us. Um, but yeah, it was a it was a gamble worth taking, and it worked out, even though I was like nervous about it.
Well, I think like that was kind of. It's funny because like, and again, like I talk about this now, and I feel like it's become sort of like here we go, like we're talking about this, but like, going through therapy, it's funny to get some of these tools where you the old way of how you think about yourself, about how you talk, speak, deal with life things. You want change, and you're just afraid of the change, and then you kind of get some of these tools to kind of work through your issues or whatever, and it unlocks this kind of freedom in you where you're like, oh my god, like I feel like I can do anything. Like I now have the keys to like do this. And like I don't know why I was so afraid of kind of confronting myself or confronting these things and kind of growing as a person. But it's funny to kind of think about, lyrically. I remember like there was a lot of shit you were going through at the time. And to me, I think in metal, it's so funny because like some of the biggest songs that like everyone knows and listens to, like End of Heartache, Rose of Sharon, like, those are about overcoming like just sad shit and finding solace and finding the ability to work through it and knowing that like it's going to be okay, like when you get to the other side of it. And it's kind of almost like it gave you permission, or you gave yourself permission, I guess, to kind of talk about some real shit, kind of do it in a way that like fit with the message you were trying to convey lyrically and musically. But once you did that, it kind of gave you that new key, that new tool to go further and kind of be more open and I think more honest with yourself and with those who are going to listen. And I think that's where the success of any band comes in, is when you finally are able to kind of break down that barrier, and it's vague, and I speak in metaphors, so I kind of hide behind shit, and it could be about anything. No, be more direct. Kind of talk about the real shit that people are going through, because that's what will connect people to what you're doing and the art you're creating, because we're more similar than we are not. And I think that we forget that a lot of times.
I mean, I think that for Hollow Front specifically, like the lyrical content has always kind of been, it's more like my diary, my journal, my diary or whatever, it's not really, I've never really sat down and been like, oh, I'm going to write this song for these kind of people. It's like I'm sitting down and I'm writing lyrics that mean something to me, because then I can put as much emotion into them as possible. It's real shit for me. And I mean, like my first EP was like all, hating on my ex-wife, that kind of a thing. Homewrecker and all those, and Still Life. By Still Life, I was over that. I was a different person, but I was also still like super depressed, and just trying to figure out where I stood in the world as a single adult human with 2 kids, and trying to do the band thing. And so Still Life was very personal. Loose Threads was personal. I mean, I always go personal, but that was probably the last record that I wrote everything lyrically. Like everything after that has kind of been like, I'll write a majority of stuff, and then Dakota will kind of write his parts based off what I'm writing, or vice versa. I'll write my parts based off of what he's writing. Well, so it's been a lot more collaborative, but it's still like that personal. He's writing stuff from his perspective, and I'm writing stuff from my perspective. And we kind of mash them together. So we still have that like relatability. We want people to be able to relate to the lyrics, and as well as kind of interpret them their own way. But we're still pretty like direct. It's not super metaphorical.
What is because you always hear the phrase like I wrote something for me, and then once it's out, it no longer is mine. It is now everyone else's. What has been an interaction maybe you've gotten to have, whether it be in person or online or whatever, where something you've written, you've had someone explain to you what it means to them, and you're just kind of like, oh shit, like, because I think sometimes it's not that you don't understand that the power of your own words or what they mean or anything like that, but I think that there is this thing where maybe you don't realize what it means, what it can mean to somebody else, and the life it takes on once it goes to everybody else and their interpretations of things. What how has that been for you now that you know you're probably getting more people reaching out to you and just kind of saying, you know, hey, blank song or this lyric or whatever? Like, how has that been for you to kind of adjust to and know that people are actually paying attention that deeply to what you're saying?
It's tough and humbling at the same time, just because I just feel awkward when I tell people, you know, like I'm just kind of I don't know what to say. I'm just kind of like, got to listen. And, you know, I can think of a really good example of one, which, you know, poor guy, if he happens to listen to this or not, I don't know. But he took a train 7 hours up to Wisconsin to see us from somewhere in Illinois.
Damn.
He got on the train, came there, and he watched us play. And then after we played, I was talking to him, and he was pretty drunk at this point. So you'll give him that. But you know, he was going through our song "Don't Fall Asleep" and was kind of like going lyric by lyric, you know, talking to me about the lyrics. You know, would say a line and then he would talk about it, and you know, and then he started crying, you know, and like it was like I don't know what to do. Like I just kind of was like, "Come here, buddy," like like, you know, and like I relate to that pain. It's hard to do it with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people they connect to the music so well that they feel like that they can just tell me anything. You know, which I don't discourage that. You know, I'm down to talk to anybody about anything. But after a while, like the songs just become songs to me. You know, like performing still life doesn't throw me into like the you know, emotions like it used to. You know, like now it's just a song, but to somebody else, it's way more than that. So I feel like you said, like the song's not mine anymore, and it doesn't even feel like mine anymore because I'm not in that same place that I was, but somebody else is in that place. So they're kind of relating to it way harder than I am at the time. And yeah, you know, talking to people about that stuff, you know, whether it's their depression or, you know, their relation, you know, their ends of their relationships or, you know, suicidal thoughts or anything like that. Like, you know, it's tough for me just because I don't know how to, I guess, be just openly empathetic, like without feeling like I'm being like, I'm not trying to be fake, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that, you know, like somebody will come up to me and they'll be like, yo, your song saved my life. And I'm like, I'm so happy you think that, but I think like you have to give yourself some credit, you know, like, yes, that song probably helped you, but you saved your life, you know, like I didn't do it. I don't even, you know, we've never met, and I'm so happy that you're here. But yeah, so that type of stuff's hard for me just because I don't know how to communicate with that, with, you know, it's not like somebody that I've known for 10 years that's what comes up to me like, hey man, I think I'm going to, you know, I'm thinking about killing myself. And I'm like, you know, that person I would, you know, jump off a cliff for, you know,
right.
So it's something that's been having to get used to. Because yeah, people will be open, you know. One time I got a message, it was Thanksgiving, and it was like early morning, like 5 a.m. And the guy was like, my friend killed himself today, and I wanted you to know that you were his favorite band. And I'm just like, immediately like, like that's heavy. Like, and it's like, that takes a lot of courage for someone like to just reach out to somebody they've never met before and say that kind of stuff, you know. But at the same time, it's like, that's a lot for me to take on too, you know. It's a give and take situation. I appreciate all the fans, and I appreciate anybody that like relates to me. Like, yeah.
Well, I think like the thing that's sort of interesting about that, and I've talked about it with some different vocalists I've had on, you know, I think it gets hard because like a great example, you look at someone like Jonathan Davis, and you listen to that first Korn record, or even the first two Korn records, or honestly a lot of them. But I'm going to use the first one as an example, and you hear the song. I hear a song like "Daddy," and you're like, I've never fucking heard something like this. I've never heard someone talk about these things happening to them as a child, and I've never heard someone literally breaking down in a vocal booth where you can hear it, you can feel it. Like it's it's so tough to hear something like that. But I think the harder part then becomes for everybody who hears that, who has shared those same feelings, those same experiences. Jonathan is now the conduit for my, you know, I went through this. Let me tell you about the experience I had. Let me kind of burden. I don't burden is kind of the wrong word, but kind of essentially you're getting dumped on with someone else's baggage, and in the most nicest way, it's like I'm glad that you identified with this thing that I went through, or this experience, or these lyrics, or this music, or whatever. And you identify with what I'm doing, and I can only imagine how awesome that is. But all I can think of is just like you're saying, like I feel like that's the harder part, where it's like I don't want to discourage people from telling people what they mean to them, or like if someone means something to you, or have been helped you in something. Because I think that's great. I think communicating like that is great. But I feel like the hard part is then what does it do to you? Like, because then it's like, what do you do with like you're talking, like we'll talk about Still Life. It's like, okay, like that was birthed by, or Home Record, like it was birthed by like horrible shit that you had to go through. So now people who identify with it, they're constantly coming to you going like, here's the end of my fucking relationship, let me tell you about it. And you're like, fuck man, like okay, that was a lot to take in. I have no vested interest in that. Like it has nothing to do with me. But now I feel like I have a part of that vested in it, because it somehow now is tied to me. You felt strong enough to tell me about this experience, and now I have to work my way through how I feel about it. I have to kind of work my way through both of the emotions of the people involved. And I just feel like it has to take such an emotional toll, possibly even physically and mentally toll on you, because then it's like, well, now what do I do with it? And I feel like that's the part of it where I feel like that would be the hard part for me, where I'm like, especially as an empathic person, where I would be like, I don't have the capacity today for this. I'm having a bad day. I can't take on your shit too. I'm sorry. Like, and it's like, and that would be how I'd say it too. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I just don't have the space today to deal with your, like, not your shit. It's not shit like in like, oh, you're bullshit. But it's like, it's so heavy, and like I know it is. I just don't have the capacity to help you or deal with this today. And I feel like that would be the hard thing, especially on a 2-month long tour where potentially every day you're getting that in some capacity, whether it's through online, in person, especially in person. I think it could be harder. But I feel like that would be the hard part about that to me.
Didn't have to deal with that. Right. I didn't have to deal with that too much just because of the rules, with the COVID rules. So but there were some fans that like I went out of my way to meet, like they reached out and they wanted to meet and they wanted to talk, and I'm not going to turn those people down, like that's the kind of, that's the kind of moment that they're going to remember, and they're going to be like, hey, Tyler from Hollow Front, like, spent 30 minutes talking to me, or and listen to me, hadn't, even if I didn't have much to add to the conversation, but and it's not always just depressed people that come up and talk to me either. It's
no.
Aspiring vocalists, like young kids, like that's honestly, like, to me, that's like what I was doing, 15, 16, 17 years ago, going to shows and like looking up to vocalists, and being like, I want to be that person. And that was something that I was pretty excited about happening on the tour. And not to say I wasn't excited to talk to the other people too, but it was a very, like, almost out of body experience. Like I just went back to my old 14-year-old self, going to metal show and being like, oh, I want to be just like that guy, and I want to do vocals, and that it was a super humbling experience, to have anybody, want to take their time to meet or talk to us, any of us from the band, not just me. But it's funny because some people are just some people are just funny, and it's just like they're not impressed. They know the band, but they don't know it well enough to like. But they'll come to you and be like, "Hey, man, why didn't you play that one song?" I'm like, which one? The one. The one where you're out in the snow. I'm like, fuck. I was like, yeah, it's we're the opening band. We only have so many songs we can play, and we have like 15 new songs since then. Yeah, so yeah, like overall, just going back to what I was saying earlier, meeting people is my favorite part of touring. I'm hoping that this tour coming up is a little bit more. We're not allowed to hang out at the merch table, but we're allowed to hang out outside. So hopefully I'll get to meet more people, meet some people I saw on the last tour. Kind of build those relationships with people. It's not just about showing up, playing the show, and leaving. It's about coming back and being like, hey, I remember you. Your name's, such and such. And we had a nice long conversation about your aspirations to be a vocalist, or your girlfriend leaving you, or whatever is going on. Like, it's, how are you? That kind of a thing,
Yeah.
And I think that's lost. I think that's lost the bigger you get as a band, because it becomes so overwhelming. Like a lot of the bigger bands that, even like not just We Came as Romans, but or the Devil Wears Prada, but other bands we've played shows with, it's like they don't, they get the meet and greet, and that's as far as it goes. Like, you don't get to see those people again. And I'm trying to relish every moment of being the opening band, just so that before it gets to the point where it's like, well, fuck, 300 people are staying in line to talk to me, and it's like, that's just never going to work, because imagine how exhausted you'd be after that, and you have to do that every night,
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people shit on bigger bands and like, they don't even come out and talk to their fans anymore. But it's like, you don't understand, like, they're fucking tired. Like, they just played an hour and a half set. It's 11 o'clock. The venue's trying to close. What are they going to do? They can't just sit around and, they got to load up. They got to leave. They got to go to another show tomorrow. And, and I used to be one of those people like, why aren't they coming out to talk to us? But it's like, I didn't have that perspective as like a national touring band. Like, it's a marathon, man. It's like and sometimes you don't get good enough sleep because you're rolling around in a bus. And so, yeah, I'm going to relish this small time stuff that I got going on right now, like with meeting people and being able to, take in all those relationships so that when we're bigger, we can, still have those fans. They come out to every show that we play.
Something, it's funny as you were kind of saying all that, something I kind of was thinking about was, I feel like in this situation, especially in a bubble of touring right now, I feel like it's interesting to think about how the inner workings of the band has to be, because I feel like, like instead of being like, oh, I can just fucking get away because like Dakota pissed me off today, like just using him as an example, not saying he does, but like,
oh, he does. They all piss me off. I'm grumpy one.
But it's one of those where it's like, okay, like I can get to the venue, I'm gonna go see this person, I'm gonna go do this thing, like you get to get away. But I feel like in light of that and touring right now, I feel like all you have is each other, and that's all you can be around for the most part. How has it been over the last, I'll say more since the last tour, but like, how has it been since kind of you guys are all you have for some of that, like kind of personal connection day in and day out?
It sucks. No, no, they, like we do get time, like, it's not like so bad where we can't take a walk,
Right.
It's like we're chained to the bus until we play. But we, like, yeah, it does get like, old, cause people just get on each other's nerves after a while. So, but you know that you're all that you have, even if you're friendly with the other bands, they're not like your brothers, they're not the people that are going to be there when your tire blows out or or whatever kind of issue comes along on touring. Those are going to be the people that are in the bus. And no, I mean, I think every tour we do, we always fight. Like Holofront's not the band that's like hunky dory and like all smooches and hugs all the time. We definitely get on each other's nerves, but it's four big personalities in a bus, and even though we fight, like we come out stronger every time, because we've accomplished something that 2 years ago we never thought would happen. We didn't think we'd tour with We Came as Romans or Fit for a King or the next tours that we have coming up that I can't talk about. But yeah, like it's just like you said, like we're all we have, and and sometimes it's like I need my space. Me especially, I need alone time. So, but that's why we have separate bunks, and it's kind of like if you don't want to talk to somebody, you go to your bunk, and if they want to talk to you, they can message you, and you can message back. But for the most part, if I'm in my bunk, I'm watching TV, or I'm just like scrolling through the interwebs or doing whatever. But yeah, you get that time away from each other, but you also get to experience all the really cool shit together. All the stops, all the hangouts. Like we went to the beach with Devil Wears Prada, and like that was a super fucking fun day. We were just hanging out at the beach. I don't drink or anything really, but they were all kicking back a couple beers and just chilling in the waves with a band that I was listening to 12 years ago. Fuck, more than that. Fuck, like damn, they're an old band. It's funny because they're all my age.
Yes,
they're all my age, but they've just been doing this way longer. But they were also like 17 when they started doing it.
Yeah, I think that's been like the weird thing, sort of paralleling a little bit. In doing this is, obviously like, Porter from Atreyu, like being a good friend. It's funny because we're friends and like, we'll text, we'll, hang out when we're around each other and all that kind of stuff. But it's weird because like I've kind of talked about this weird duality where when he comes through, it's like, it's my friend. I get to hang out with him. I get to see him. I'm excited. And, we're the same age. So like we have similar things happening in life. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, then he plays a show and I'm like, oh yeah, man, you're granted, technically he was not on the Curse, but like they'll play something from the Curse. Like a couple tour cycles ago, they did like a 20th anniversary. They played like some deep cuts off of the Curse.
We played with them at a festival.
Yeah, that's right.
Festival.
Yep. So, but it was funny, like for me, where I'm like, oh my God, this album, this song, this whatever, like, boom, I'm right back to where I was when I was like, 15, 16, 17, 18. But then it's weird because like, there's a guy and I'm like, and then he'll acknowledge me and it's like, oh yeah, that's my friend. And then you're like, fuck, this is weird. Cause like you're you and you're the person I've gotten to know as a friend, but you're still also this person who happens to make music that I identify with. Mm-hmm. And you've been that person too for so long that it is kind of weird that you kind of go back and forth with how you deal with it internally, because it's weird. It's not a normal circumstance typically for you to meet and become friends with people that you kind of quote unquote know or have such a deep connection to.
Yeah,
but they don't know you.
It's very much like with us with Ryan from Fit for a King. Like I wasn't like I liked their band a lot before I met him. And I sang them at shows and I saw them with like Beartooth and Every Time I Die, I'm pretty sure I had tour. And like it was like they were fucking badass. And Holofront was kind of influenced by Fit for a King, so when he reached out to us, it was kind of like, oh, like at first I was like, well, that's not real. Somebody's pranking us or talking, someone's fucking with us. But actually, it turned out to be him. And like over the, we've been working with him for 3 years, so I've gotten to know him quite well. I wouldn't say we're BFFs or anything, but it makes it even more fun. Like this tour that we got coming up with them and Silent Planet, and Avoid. knowing that I know everybody in Fit for a King. There's not going to be some weird, awkward, like, with We Came as Romans, and then, like, I know their drummer, but I didn't know anybody else, and Dead Wars Prada didn't know any of them, didn't know anybody from Dayseeker, so it was kind of like, oh, hey, like, we're Hollow Front, like, you know, the first couple days were kind of just like us in the corner, kind of being like, is it time to play now? And then, you know, we'd hop out, play, and we're like, all right, run away before we do something that we embarrass ourselves. But with Fit for a King, it'll be a lot cooler because I know Ryan, and we have had personal conversations, and you know, and I was actually thinking about your friendship with Porter earlier because you were telling me he was helping you with graphics or whatever, and
Yep.
I was like, damn, like I trade you, man. It just takes me back, you know. Not to date myself, but I bought that CD from Kmart. So yeah, it's cool to like become friends, not with, I wouldn't say your idols, but just people that you admire in the scene. Yeah, your peers that are successful, because like Fit for a King is a very good example of a band that I would love to be on their level success wise. Just, you know, they're killing it out there, you know, whether it's with merch or shows or, you know, whatever, streaming. And that's definitely like having that close relationship with somebody that's admired in the scene is super cool. And he's 3 months younger than me. We call him Band Dad, but really I'm older than him. So
yeah, I feel like that's kind of the interesting thing. Like, and this sounds really braggy, and I definitely don't mean it to come across for those potentially who will end up listening. I think when I say this and kind of pros it back to you, I think you're totally going to understand where I'm coming from. But I feel like at times, you know, there has been the success of this show. Like, you know, I was reminded I think about a week ago, that I saw like 3 years ago, we cracked I guess at this point, and it's always been me, but like this podcast cracked like the top 50 or top 100. I think we peaked out at like 70 or 60 something or 80 something like that. But we like cracked the top 100 on iTunes, like for podcast. And
I remember that.
And it was crazy. And then like to see some of the successes of like, okay, like, you know, Stitcher, like constantly on the charts there, getting approved for these festivals. It's like, it's as close of a climb in kind of the journey of success in something that I've always been passionate about, which is music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the first time I've ever been rewarded for my own hard work and seen the work pay off. But it still feels weird because I feel like it's somehow not because of me. Like there's a weird imposter syndrome aspect to it where it's like, well, like no one listens to the show to hear me. They want to hear the guest. I'm just a proxy to what they want to hear.
I disagree with you because I think if you weren't a good host, if you weren't a good talker, then no one would give a shit. You know, you wouldn't be able to conversate with these people well enough to make an entertaining show. You know, I've listened to your show many times, and I've enjoyed every one that I've listened to. You know, you've talked to some really cool people that, you know, and you know, I know your format's changed a little bit, but like, you know, like I've gotten to know some things about other people, such as, you know, like, was it the drum? Is it Patrick from Ice Nine Kills? Is that?
Yeah.
Yep. That was a really cool episode. That was a while ago, but a very cool episode. And you talked to like people that I've like Damon from Of Virtue, so I've known him forever, and like obviously Jim from For the Fallen Dreams, and like getting to hear those people, it's like, oh, I know those people in real life, and it's like,
yeah,
and it's like you've known those people too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think your work ethic is, you know, I think that's what helps, and that's how I feel about Hollow Fronts. Like we just continue to do it, even if like, oh, that thing didn't work, but we're just going to keep going until the next thing works, you know? And I feel like your perseverance as a podcaster has definitely shown, has definitely proven your worth as a podcaster.
Yeah. But I think like the thing that's interesting about it is at times because this I'm not used to, and this is the part where I feel like it gets interesting, is kind of dealing with the hate kind of at times of either seemingly someone not feeling that I'm deserving of either the platform or the people I get to talk to, or the opportunity. I'll say more so the opportunities that I've been given at times. And it's funny to kind of have to deal with it, because you're like, look, like I earned, like you said, I earned what I got. Whether you feel like I did or not, like that's irrelevant. I fucking earned what I got. But I think the hard part for me at times has been when, and it's the unfortunate thing of kind of this industry, that eventually you kind of outgrow a certain level, as it were. Like, when I started the show, and I think you and I had talked about this at the time, I very much wanted to be a platform for a lot of local smaller bands. But then I reached out to them and no one wanted to fuck with me. And then I was like, okay. And then I started building a name and kind of having some success and some, headlines and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, can we do something? Can we do whatever? And it's like, no. And like now it's to the point where unfortunately it's like it's almost kind of like you were saying earlier, and like I'm sure people potentially will hear it and be like, oh, what a fucking dick you are. I heard it, and I hear you realizing the reality of the situation, where you're like, I'm embracing what's happening right now, because there will be a point where I can't do even what I'm doing now if things keep going the way they are. Someone might hear that and go, what a fucking asshole. You're already like too big for yourself. You got a big head. I hear it and I go, no, you understand that to get where you want to go, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So enjoy it now, because there will be a time if you hit and succeed with your goals and being goal oriented, that you're not going to be able to do it. So cherish it now. But I also could see people being like, man, like Hollowfront, or I'll put it back on me just to put it on me. He's kind of an asshole because he doesn't support the smaller bands. He's only about, getting the bands of this level. And it's like, once you hit a certain level of what you do, there kind of is that threshold, that expectation, like doing anything below that kind of devalues a little bit of what you do, to a degree.
I definitely agree. And that's honestly just the politics of this industry. Like, whether, like we've been told many times, oh, you can't take that show, like that's becoming a thing now. Not that we wouldn't play the show, not that we feel like we're too good. Yeah. We're literally told, hey, like, this isn't smart. You should play this show instead. Yep. And then you're playing, it's I'm trying to think how to word this without sounding like an asshole. Local bands are local. They stay local for a reason, know. It's mostly an attitude or a lack of a lack of work ethic, and a lack of, those people that are talking shit about bands like us, or I don't know. I don't even think anybody is, but I'm just saying this as an example because we're talking like they don't understand that our position is, well, they're like, well, they won't even play local shows anymore. And it's like, well, we're not playing at Mulligan's ever a fucking again. Like, that's just never going to happen. If there's a time where I'm playing at Mulligan's again and I'm getting paid in PBR pictures and, like $60, like I'm going to pack it in, because that was us 5 years ago. Yeah. You have to grow. You have to allow yourself to grow. You can't stay playing at, Mulligan's or what, I don't even know, the DAC or whatever. I don't know if that's even a place anymore, but like those, you outgrow those places, and that just means you're doing well. It's not because you're an asshole. It's just that you are ascending, where to be what you've always wanted to be. Yeah. And I think some people are just jealous, whether it's listeners of your podcast or, listeners of Hollowfront or any other band. I think people are just jealous, and the internet is an easy place for them to talk their shit, and have no consequences. But there's always haters, and I don't really I pay attention to the most about it, to the most of the haters in the band. But I'm working on, namaste, and not trying to let those people dictate my feelings, because I'm actually doing something. It's not like we're playing a festival with 17 bands anymore, or whatever they got going on, those kind of shows.
What I feel like that was the thing is, and at times I feel like there's a little bit more, and I don't think I've ever said this to you personally, but it's one of those where at times I feel like sort of like a virtue, you guys, like I feel there's more of a parallel between us. Like, I'm not in a band, I'm not touring, I'm not doing half of the shit that you do to make it and be successful. But a lot of the behind the scenes things that has to go into doing this, the constant communication with the publicist, the management, the making connects with band people. Hey, I think you should talk to so and so. Let me set that up with you. All those things. That's very similar. That's very similar to what you have to deal with. I book shows, so I understand that side of things too. And it's one of those where at times I feel like it's funny, like talking to you and Damon now, because I feel like we're all kind of in this same thing where it's like, oh man, isn't it crazy how like you can't do the, like, you're talking about a tour you can't tell me about, and I know damn well like as soon as I hit end on this record thing, like we'll talk about it. but that's because I built up the trust and the equity with you guys, and that you can tell me something, and I'm not gonna say
I'm not. I think I met you like 10 years ago. Has to be 10 years ago by now.
Yeah.
And I was just like the little, kid at the shows. I saw you at shows, but we didn't really talk. It's kind of like that thing. Like I always saw you at every show I went to, but we didn't really talk because, you're a little bit older than I am, and I, being that, even like early 20s to mid teens, like that's a gap. Not like it is now where I'm early 30s and you're in your mid to how old are you now?
You'll be 38 in September.
Yeah, like the gap, it's just different now, So, I fucking forgot where I was going with that.
No, you're talking about, like, I think to get you back on track, hopefully, just talking about, growing up kind of, and kind of, I think, working hard and kind of working your way through this industry and kind of understanding.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't turn it off. I'm sure you think about your podcast more than you think about whatever regular job that you have. Yep. It's all the time. Like no matter what job I'm working, Hollowfront takes precedent. Like that's something it's ingrained in my blood. And that's I think that's the difference between like you and I and Damon and Jim from For the Fallen Dreams. All these people that have seen somewhat, some success in the industry, not massive. We're not talking Bremen Horizon success, but those people have always worked hard and they never given up.
Yeah.
And you have, I've talked to a lot of younger bands will hit me up. Like I had one yesterday hit me up and was like, hey, we listened to my song and give me like brutally honest feedback. And I'm just like, all right, yeah. So I listened to it. I was like, songs pretty decent. Like the recording, you need to get a better, engineer. And then all the excuses started coming. Like it was
don't have the money, don't have the time.
The money, don't have the time, don't have this, don't have that, and this and that and that and that. And I'm like, you're dead in the water, bud. Like you have to figure it out if you want it that bad, because you're in a sea of a million other bands that are on Spotify and Apple Music now. And if their recording's better than yours, your shit's getting skipped. Like it's just you have to bring your A game, and you have to make it like I've sacrificed so many things, time with my kids, relationships, whatever, to make this dream of mine work. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that kind of taking it that far.
Yeah.
And that
I think the hard part for me at times, and it's funny because like for as often as this is touted as a metal hardcore podcast, I would love nothing more than to take it into R&B, hip hop, pop, like whatever, because like that's also a lot of the shit I listen to. It's almost like being on tour in a metal band where it's like, yeah, I'm in this, But because I'm in this, I listen to everything but this because I'm so enamored with it. I need to get away from it.
Yeah, we don't listen to a lot of metal.
Yeah.
I would say I don't stray too far. I go into like 90s rock and like, you know, early 2000s new metal shit. That's the kind of stuff that I listen to when I'm driving. So it's, you know, new metal isn't super far removed from, it's not, you know, it's not hardcore or metalcore or anything.
Yeah.
But it's still heavier. But then you get like Devin who listens to like John Mayer. And I not talking shit about John Mayer. I like John Mayer, but he only listens to 3 fucking songs by John Mayer.
Oh.
So that gets old. But everybody listens to different shit, you know, like even though sometimes I think when Brandon drives, he always listens to them. I don't think he has any other kind of genre of music that he likes. He gets in behind the wheel and it's right on the metalcore station. I'm like, Brandon, we just fucking left the fucking venue. I was like, I don't want to hear another breakdown.
Yeah, I'm very much the same. But I think it's also part of my age and growing up, you know, when there was a lot more diversity of what you would hear on pop radio, on MTV, on all those outlets and so forth. But it's funny because sometimes, like, I feel like almost a bit of an imposter at times doing this, like, where it's like, I just literally got a T-Boss tattoo like a week ago. And it's funny because, like, some people would be like, I guess actually here's a fun story. So my wife works at the downtown market, bartending part-time on like weekends and stuff. And she was like, hey, there's going to be this sneaker ball. And I was like, word? A sneaker ball? Like, tight. Like, kind of get dressed up, but the shoe and the outfit all got to like... It's like a whole fucking... Like, the fit, the whole outfit is like... It's a vibe. Like, it's, you know, a DJ is going to be there. Like, and I was like, yo, I want to fucking go to that. Like, that's my vibe. And so, like, today, like, I have like a handful of different pairs of like Jordans and Nikes and all that kind of shit. And I was like, okay, like, how do I want to put my outfit based around my shoes? Like, how can I put together a really fucking awesome outfit around my shoes? So I was like brainstorming the last like week or so. Then today, inspiration struck. I bought another Braves hat, but this is like a floral print one on the bill, and I don't have anything like that. And then I was like, yo, I got this like Nike women's windbreaker I bought out in LA, Vegas. I bought it out in Vegas. Like floral print, pretty much matches the hat almost identically. And I was like, I know Nike does like floral shoes. I wonder if I can find a pair that somehow matches the tone of like my windbreaker and my hat that I'll be getting. So right now I found a pair of Forces that have a floral print on the back, like around the heel. And I was like, yo, this looks dope. And then I started like screenshotting everything and kind of being like, yeah, all these colors kind of work together. And I was like, okay, all right, I need to buy a pair of like white jeans to like pop the floral like in everything and like just kind of show the fuck out. And I got real fucking excited about it. I was like, yo, man, I'm like, I can't wait to go to this thing. Like, I know like I'm gonna quote unquote be the sore thumb as probably one of the few white people at this motherfucker, but like I know I'm gonna look fucking good. And like I'm probably gonna like people are gonna be like, yo, those are some nice Forces, and I'll be like, yeah, and then like, and we can talk about shoes and like shit that I'm into with that, or you know, I'm sure like we'll talk about hip hop music or whatever, and like something that I'm also equally passionate about. But it's funny because like people look at me and just assume that's not who I am, and I feel like I'm constantly having to go through this process of not fitting anyone's stereotype of like, well, you're this, and it's like, fuck no, I'm not. You think tattoos like I like hardcore music? Sure, I do like that. But let me sit there and let me tell you about the career of TLC and about how they worked with 3 different producers on their 3 first records, and about how each of the producers brought out something differently vocally from everybody. Let me tell you about something how I learned on Crazy Sexy Cool. You know what I learned? I learned that fucking Left Eye, for as much as you think she's just a background fucking person, she is holding down those harmonies. That is really what you're hearing is her harmonies. Let me point them out to you. Like, let me show you how working with Babyface brought out this side of, like, a cohesive side of the group. Let me show you how working with Dallas Austin on Fan Mail brought out this different, kind of more looser side to the band. Like, that's the kind of shit I do. Like, I'll apply the same lens and the fandom that I have of hardcore and metal and things like that but then I'll sit there and I'll apply it to the music that I first really grew up loving, which was R&B and hip hop and classic rock and hard rock of the 80s.
Yep. Yeah, man. I didn't really get into heavy shit until like Slipknot. So that's like 99. Everything before that was like, hip hop, R&B, obviously like the classic rock, like you said, like 80s, 70s, like that's what my parents were listening to that, and like grunge and stuff like that when I was a kid. So that was kind of like, that's why I still stick with that, and I'm always the one that's listening to like 90s hip hop, R&B, Boys II Men, any of those kind of, on tour. I have my little playlist from each decade. I think it's just it's a sign of a well-rounded person. Like I can't stand those people that are like, I only listen to breakdowns. like I love breakdowns. Like
sure.
I would say that Holofront has moved farther away from that kind of a vibe. But I can do a breakdown just like the next guy. I enjoy it, but like sometimes I just want to hear some soulful voice, singing the blues to me, man. I just singing their, because a lot of those R&B and like, I mean, a lot of them sing about money and that kind of stuff. But if you really like get down to it, a lot of them were singing about struggle, and about real issues. And I think that's why I connected with, that kind of that music. I'm not really a big into like the rap and stuff that's like, I got all this money and bitches and hoes, like that kind of shit. Like that never, I liked, like if I listened to rap, it was gangster rap, but they were talking about the streets, they were talking about, coming up.
Well, I think that's why like someone like Jay-Z is so interesting to me, because I feel like if you look at the breadth of his career between, Reasonable Doubt Volume 1, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, like you see the growth of what I'll call a boy to a man, and right. he learned by probably around, I mean, you look at something like Volume 2 is still kind of braggy about like, I got money, I got cars, I got women, I got fame, I got these things. And then you started seeing the lyrical content kind of being more focused on, like you look at a song like 99 Problems, but like, everyone knows the hook, but like if you really listen to it, it's kind of a very political song.
That's why Jay-Z went so well with Linkin Park.
Yeah. And then
that's
it's like
their Linkin Park collab, because Jay-Z had something to say. And I think that, it wasn't just like, and you're way more versed on this stuff than I am. I don't know album names and all that kind of stuff, but it's just a sign of an artist growing and, and pursuing their passion, but at like a elevated level.
Well, I mean, I think, and that was what started it actually, was me making the comment to like when people want to reach out, and and it's not that I don't want people to reach out to me, but I hate the I don't think this is a word, but I'm going to make it one. The discourtesy of like, I'll have people reach out and they're like, I want you to check out my band, review it on your show. And I'm like, if you've ever listened to my show, like, because they'll be like, oh, I'm such a big fan of your show, we'd love for you to review the album. And I'm like, if you are such a fan, you would know I don't do reviews. Like straight up, like and like, so a lot of times like my response is exactly like, I'm going to show you the same courtesy you showed me, which is none, and I'm not going to check out your shit, because like you would know that that's not what I do. But like beyond that, like it's funny, I was thinking sort of like a Drake lyric on, I think it was on So Far Gone. There's the line where he's like, how does it fucking go? People, something to the effect of like, people reach out to me to help them get back to where they fell from, and like that line just like always gets me, because like I'm like, it's funny to go, actually, since you have kids, you probably will really appreciate this reference, but it's almost like what is it, Chicken Little? I asked for all the help and no one fucking helped me. And then I have the thing. I asked you to help me make this thing, to grow all these crops, to do this thing, to then end up making this feast at the end of the book. And it wasn't until the feast was literally in front of you that everyone was like, oh, well let me get some of that. And you're like, nah, man, I asked you to help me at the very foundation, the very beginning of all this shit. And you said no. So now that all the hard work's been put in, now that all like the quote unquote success is here, now you want to like fucking ride dick? Like, hell no.
It's the same thing with people. Like, I've had this with a few people that I just, I didn't like this person. We weren't really friends, and we were kind of, not enemies or anything, because I never really had those kind of
just weren't cordial.
Right? But like, they'll reach out and be like, "Yo, dude, like, will you get me into a show?" I'm like, "Bro, we haven't talked in like 15 years, and I didn't like you back then, so like, I don't know why like it's." And people feel like they have access to you at all times just because you have a public persona, but I'm not really a super public person. So when these people reach out to me, they're like, "Hey, we've never met or we've never talked to you before, but like, can you get me backstage so that I can meet We Came as Romans?" No. Like, what do you mean? Like, not only that, We Came as Romans would be like, all right, you're the asshole, Tyler, because you brought this guy back here. We didn't know,
Yeah, Punisher.
Actually, a funny story. It's on topic with this. Guy reaches out to me. He says, "Hey, man, I'm trying to get a test done to get into the show, but the place I went because you had to get
gotcha.
You had to be vaccinated or you had to get a negative test." And he hits me up, and I've never talked to this guy before in my life, but I saw his message, so I looked at it, and it was like, "Hey, man, trying to get into the show tonight, but it's sold out, and I wasn't able to get my vaccination card or vaccine in time, and I can't get a negative test. Can you help me out?" And I'm like, you listed all the things off, it's sold out. It's you don't have a you're not vaccinated, and you didn't get a negative test, and you think I'm just like, we're the opening band, man. I was like, you got to reach out to somebody higher up than us, because it's just funny.
I think one of my favorites, kind of speaking to people not understanding, I don't necessarily want to say how what we do works, but just I think in general the industry as a whole. There was a random show coming to 20 Monroe, and I get hit up by a somewhat close friend, and they're like, my friends and I want to go to this show. Is there any way you could get me and like 8 friends in? But it would be like, I'm trying to think of something remotely like out of way left field that I would be like, okay, it would be like if Trampled by Turtles was coming, and then you hit me up and ask that, and I'm like, I don't know anyone in that space. I don't know anyone in that band. I don't know anybody. Like, no. And even on top of that, it's like, even if I could, most of the time, the best I can do is like me and Bridget, and sometimes that's even a struggle. Like it'll be like, if you can buy a ticket for her, like, and we give you a pass or whatever, like you can bring her back with you or whatever, but like, no, like that's all we can do is just you. And sometimes even that's like not happening. So it's like just the fact that people think that, again, I think it just kind of goes to this lack of understanding the perception of what you've achieved. And I think
a lot of people sensationalize it too. They sensationalize and think you are like, just because you're on, like, just because you're in the field, like you have like unlimited power.
Yeah. Well, I think the hard part is people, and I almost feel like maybe it applies to you, and I guess this could be an interesting talking point real quick. So, like, I feel like people don't necessarily value the work that goes into doing this, as far as like now the show has changed. It's more of just a conversation. I don't actually have questions, and I'm not sitting here going like, okay, I'm talking to Tyler from Hollow Front and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. Cause like, it feels disingenuous, and I feel like you don't get as much out of the person, but I feel like people don't understand the work that goes into doing this. Like I was talking about earlier. And I feel like that's the thing. There's all the shit you don't see that I do, that I have to like not deal with, but like that I do every day to put out a weekly thing. Mm-hmm. And it's work. And it's one of those where I feel like it's like people don't understand that, or they devalue the work that you have put in to get what little bit of hookups or a little bit of whatever success, whatever you want to call it, like, because you can kind of parlay those all together. Well, I get these hookups because I'm quote unquote successful in this thing because I've earned it. I had to earn these things. And I think that's the thing everyone kind of forgets at a certain point is they just assume that, like, well, you just get these things. So, like, fuck it. Like, I should get what you got. And it's like, oh, man, like, I had to work for this. Like,
yeah, and even then you still don't. It's not like, you don't get a key to the kingdom. It's people, that's why they have, like, a distorted view of what's really happening. Like, they're like, they only see us for 30 minutes of the night, They don't see the other fucking 23 and a half hours of the day that we're doing, because even when you're on tour, you still don't get to stop doing the work, and it just gets harder because you're tired and you keep switching time zones every other fucking day, and like you just and you're missing family. I miss my kids, and it's like there's a lot to touring, and like that's not just playing the show, and people don't really get it. They think, you're just up there for 30 minutes and like that must be the easiest job in the world. Like, no, it's not. It's just a way more fulfilling job.
Yeah. Speaking to your kids a little bit, because I know they're older now. How has it been to have? I was talking about this with Steve earlier from Wolves at the Gate. He's, like I said, he's got twins that are 5. Excuse me, and even talking to Brian from Shadows Fall. His kids are older now, and they played those reunion shows, and he got to bring his kids out and kind of be like, we're at the Worcester at the Palladium, like all these people came, like this is what Daddy did.
I played there, and that place is sweet.
I still want to go there. That's one of the few. Although the Masquerade really let me down. I went to the Masquerade. I was like, man, this place actually kind of sucks.
I think that's like a new venue too. Like they used to be somewhere else.
I think what they did was they renovated it, because I saw some old photos and I was like, oh, it looks like they gave it a good facelift.
But I didn't think it was terrible that was one of the nicer venues we played, but the Palladium was pretty fucking awesome. It's 2,600 people.
Yeah, it looks, from watching like all the old Killswitch videos and stuff, or the Killswitch DVD, it's like it just looks like a great venue to see a show in. But like sometimes, like when you go to some of these other places and see some of these venues, you're like, shit, like that actually was a letdown, or this isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. But I was going to say, like, how has it been? Your kids are older now. Like, how has it been to kind of, I guess, maybe experience what you're going through? And I think outside of like the Detroit run on the We Car tour, I don't think you did the headline show here in GR, but like, something on like a tour that big, like, getting your kids and bringing them out and kind of letting them see like what you do from kind of your perspective of like maybe the stage.
They haven't seen me live yet, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just hasn't really, like with school and whatever, and just hasn't really. And with the pandemic, we didn't really want to bring them to the show, and it was just so they haven't got to see me yet. I'm hoping next time we do a headliner, it won't be at the Stash, that it'll be like at Elevation or somewhere with a side stage where my kids aren't, in a big crowd of people that are, moshing and stuff. It's tough being a dad and doing music, like it's, you're torn. Yeah, I'm a lot more torn than the other guys in the band because they don't have those kind of responsibilities. They don't have 2 little human beings that rely on them, for emotional and physical support. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I've adjusted well. My kids have adjusted well. They're really good with me being gone. My youngest is still at the age where he's like, I don't want you to leave, or when are you ever coming home, kind of a thing. Like, yeah, like, a month to him is like a year, right? Whereas my oldest is kind of like, yeah, my dad's a rock star,
I just feel like it would be interesting, like that was the thing I was talking to Steve and even Brian and some other people, like, I don't have kids. I'm never going to have kids. But it is one of those that I understand that kids can allow you as an adult to see things through their perspective, their eyes, the way they see the world. And I feel like at times where, especially someone who's like, and I'm not saying that like you haven't done this for a long time. You haven't done it at a long time at the level you're doing. Yes.
Right.
So to me, it's like a lot of this is like you said earlier, this is still fresh. It's still new to you. So it's still exciting to you. So you're not jaded, but it does make me wonder. It does make me wonder if it will ever get to a point where it would just be kind of, I feel like it'd be cool to be like, this is what I fucking do. Like, here's like, cause you may not do it. Like, you may only do Hollow Front. You may only tour at this level for like 5 years, and then like just shit might be done. Like, is what it is.
Who knows? Like, that's the thing with this industry. You never fucking know.
Yeah, but it's one of those like I feel like that would be like the one fun thing. Like if your kids are old enough to at least get to see you and have the memory where it'd be like, yeah, I remember like when my dad was in this band, he like got to do this, or like we went to, because like to you and I, like the Palladium is fucking, it's a piece of like legacy in as far as venues go and stuff like that. To anyone else, it's just a fucking room that people play in. But I feel like to have and see the touring world through kids' eyes, I think would be crazy. Like the only perspective I have of what I feel like it potentially could be like was when going to Warped Tour, one of the last Warped Tours, and getting like an all access pass and getting to like watch like, okay, like here's a big stage, but it's split in half, and you have band A playing, band B is tearing down, and they got that 35-40 minutes to tear down the stage or tear down that band, set up the next one, sort of low-key sound check, and then as soon as this band's done, boom, this one's ready to go. Now we're loading all that shit into the truck. Like, and just seeing the work that goes into it, and seeing the actually, I think another great example, sidetracking for a second, is when I was reviewing the Underoath reunion tour when they were playing Define the Great Line and whatever.
That's a good tour.
But last minute, the publicist was like, or the editor was like, hey, our camera guy can't get there. Like, can you take photos? And I was like, all I have is my iPhone. I was like, but I'll do the best I can. And at one point I was like, well, I got this fucking photo pass. So like, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to try to get some photos. And it was crazy to me to be in the pit between the band and just feeling this volleying of energy, to like see the band going off, see like literally the front row and the whole orbit room, going ape shit during these songs. And just
I was there. I was in the back though.
Yeah, being right in the middle of it was crazy. And it's like, that was like, when I think about kids going to shows, I feel like the Warped Tour experience of seeing like a sea of people like that and kind of just seeing everything that's happening, like, it's interesting to me. I can only imagine, like, in the imagination and the eyes of a child, like, what is that? And then, like I said, go into that Underoath show and being right in the middle of the crowd and the band, and you're just catching both energies of like both, and you're just caught in the middle of it. It's like, I would imagine as a child that is just fucking magical, because like you don't have the understanding or capacity to explain that to anyone. It's a feeling. And I feel like kids are very in the moment. So to me, I feel like to be able to kind of share this journey with your kids, I think would be interesting, to kind of see what it's like from them and kind of see what they say to you. And if it kind of energizes you a little bit, where you're like, oh man, that like totally made this worth it. Like the long drives, the distance and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. It's tough, because I do see like people bring their kids to the shows, and it's like, well, my kids didn't get to come. Man, I wish my kids were here, but I'm more excited for them to see, hopefully whenever COVID really, fucks off finally, to be able to come backstage and to meet like other band members, from other bands that we're touring with. And, hopefully by then we're at, whether it's a year from now or two, that we're at a level where it's like, they got to skip all the shows where I was playing for 10 people, and, they get to actually come to real venues with real, like, actual, they treat the bands good. It's not like you're playing a dive bar where they're like, all right, you played, here's your $50, fuck off. Yeah, so that's something that I'm like, every time we play around here, I'm like, man, wish the kids could be here. And then I'm always like, this and this is happening, and it's like it's tough when you're playing rooms that are like the Stash, or because that's not really a kid. It's not really a kid-friendly venue.
No.
Even there were kids at our headliner, but me personally as a parent, I'm not like throwing my kid in the mosh pit and stuff, you know, like
A baptism by fire, just throwing them.
well, this one kid, he was crowd surfing, and he crowd surfed right onto the stage, and then he stood up there for an entire song, and we were headbanging, and you know, I was, you know, putting the mic in his face, and then at the end, he was still standing there, and I'm like, who's the parent of this child?
You gotta go, bro.
Come get this child. I was like, stakes are coming up. Where's your mom?
That's funny.
And my kids, you know, like my oldest son, it's weird because like I was at his age, that's all I did was listen to music, and he just doesn't. It's just kind of weird. It's, you know, and I've tried to like, you know, and you can't force your music taste on your kids, which is, you know, but I'm like, man, listen to some music or something, man. My youngest son, he likes music, but it's all weird YouTube shit, you know, that I don't understand. So yeah, that, you know, they're not the most musical. So they don't really, I don't think they get it because they've never seen me play. So yeah. hopefully that in the near future, we're hoping to do, because our new album is coming out, and you know, later or middle of the year, and I'm hoping to have like a big headliner at like Elevation or something, and that'd be cool for them to come see, because that would be a really big show.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. To me, that's just the fun thing of it is, and I know, you know, like when we went to go see Beartooth here in town, I took a photo. I was at the bar, and so 20 Monroe has like the mirrors behind the bar as well as the TV, so that way if you're there, you can still see what is happening, literally just a quarter of a turn away from you. But it was one of those. I happened to look over at the bar, and I saw a kid like on his dad's shoulder, on someone's shoulders. And then I saw like Caleb, and it was just like a whole thing. And I was like, and I couldn't get it the same way, not from the mirror. So I went to the bartender real quick, and I was like, hey, can you pull this like one bottle down out of my way? And they're like, what? And I was like, just pull that bottle for me real quick. And then I took the photo, and then someone's like, what are you doing? And I showed them the photo. I was like, I saw this kid, but like I can only see it from this perspective through this mirror, like projecting this way, because otherwise like it didn't look the same. Like it almost looked like Caleb and him were like side by side, like basically side by side, and it was like the kid like, you know, doing one of these, and I was just like, oh, that's really cool. Like it's funny, like for as much as I'm like, yeah, kids, no, I don't want any. Sometimes like I still love the thinking.
You can appreciate it, but you don't want them to run around and, you know, shit all over.
No. Yeah,
I don't blame you. You know, it's being a parent tough. I tell most of my young single friends not to do it. Not because I regret being a dad, it's just because, man, it makes your whole life so much more. Like you just have so much more to worry about and think about and plan. And when it's not just about you anymore, it's about them. But you also have to prioritize yourself as well. Like, you know, like I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, why is Tyler still doing that band thing? He's 31, he has 2 kids, and you know, what a shitty dad or whatever. You know, I'm sure there's somebody out there that has that thought. Or maybe that's just my own insecurity. But yeah, it's tough because you have to sacrifice time with your kids to do what you want. And when you don't have kids, you don't have to sacrifice any time because your time is your own.
Yep. Yeah. And I've always said that I'm selfish and I want my own time.
You have a dog though, and that's pretty close to having a kid.
Yeah, don't say that to people with kids though, because they don't agree with you. So many people are like, it's not the same at all. Yeah, you got to pick up after them. Yeah.
Yep, you let them go outside to go shit. Wait, no, I'm not supposed to say that. No, yeah. No, I let my kids use the toilet. Don't crucify me, internet. No, yeah, you feed them out of bowls.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
No, kids are, you know, and I think that it's weird because there's a lot of musicians that don't have kids, but then you meet the ones that do, and it's like you automatically have a deeper connection with that person because they know exactly like the loneliness that you're feeling, or like the disappointment that you can feel in your kids when you're looking at them on Skype or, not Skype anymore. We don't Skype anymore. We Zoom. When we Zoom and and they're like, when are you coming home? And I'm like, well, it's like 4 weeks away, bro. And you're sad, And it's like, yeah, so like, yeah.
God, you're a dumb little shit. You don't know how to look at a fucking calendar at this point.
You can't read?
Oh,
God, what are the teachers teaching you?
I'm glad I'm away from you idiot.
Oh, no,
I'm kidding.
no.
I'm kidding.
I struggled pretty hard the first week of We Came as Romans, because it was a totally different ballpark than anything I've ever done, and same with everyone in the band. It's like we went from playing shows with 10 to 50 people to shows with 1,000 people, and the pressure is just immense. That those first 5 days, it was just like so much pressure to perform and to because you're not only performing for yourself and the fans, you're performing for these bands that that are like legacy bands. We Came as Romans and Devil Wears Prada, those are legacy bands. And those first couple of days, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, I don't know if I have this in me. I was like, I miss my kids. I feel like guilty about that. And, but at the same time, it was like, once things started to roll, it's like, oh, okay, now I'm getting into the mode of, this is what I want to do. It's a job. Like, it's just like anybody that travels for work, You just have to be in constant communication with your family if you want, to still have some kind of a relationship. You can't just disappear for a month and a half and,
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly, kind of just because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, and full transparency, I got to pee.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Horizon Forbidden West to download, so I'm about to play that all night.
There you go. What are you most excited? You got this new record. I know you guys went down, recorded it. Like I talk about how that's the weird thing is like you guys are excited about shit that you've already done. You've been writing. You've lived these songs already, and by the time we hear it, like it may be a year and a half after you've
been a year.
Yeah,
it's been a year since we recorded it.
What are you most excited for people to take away from this new record that no one's heard really, other than the few singles that are out?
I think it's just the maturity of the band and just like the growth that we've continued to grow, and kind of we're not a band that's trying to please anybody. We're just writing music that we really enjoy and love, and like it doesn't matter that there's not a breakdown in every song, like that's I just I'm excited for people to hear just how much heart and soul we put into it, because we always do that with every record, but this is a different level. This is what our last record was, but elevated to the 3 levels above it, in my opinion. I just bashed my elbow on the desk. Yeah, I think and it's still scary. Like it's just like with Still Life. I'm still scared. Like every new song we release, I'm like, fuck, are people gonna like this? Are they gonna, is this the last thing we're ever gonna release? But I don't have that much of a fear this time around. I know just from the people that liked our last record, I know that they're gonna like this new record, and I think it's just gonna draw more fans in. And I'm just ready to release it. I've been sitting on music like that for so long is terrible.
Sucks.
So bad, because everyone's like, and that you'll get those entitled people in your DMs be like, hey, like, you should share a song with me. I'm like, dude, I'll get sued. Like this isn't what it used to be. I can't just show people shit anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have like a whole ring of people that I showed our new stuff to, and now I can't do that, for legal reasons, because if it leaks and it gets back to me, then it's big trouble for me.
How do you think I feel with my email? Like I've talked about doing, actually, hold on. I'm going to go pee because I'm going to be really quick.
All right, hurry. You go pee.
Yep. I'll be right back.
Fuck, it's hot in here. It was warm in this room. practice worthy.
I've been holding that in. So obviously, I work at a bar. So I work at Anchor, and all of us in the last week or so have been going and getting Anchor tattoos.
Oh, that's sick.
So I went and got an Anchor tattoo, but I've had to pee since I went to go do that, and I've just been holding it in.
Why didn't you pee before you started this?
Because I was on the phone with somebody else for a hot minute, and then I was like, all right, well, I got to get off this phone call and then go do this. So it was just like
got to get yourself a bucket.
Shit, I guess, like one of those, yeah. Yeah, I assume. Well, no, because you can pee on buses. You can't do number 2 on buses unless you bag it, hot bag it.
That would be terrible. That would just be a disaster. It's bad enough trying to pee when I'm moving car. I can't imagine trying to take a shit.
Well, I feel like anyone who has to shit on a bus always has to like have the worst shit ever. It's not like a solid where you're like, all right, this is going to be a solid poop. It's going to be like the most runny, shitty shit ever where you're like, it's not going to be contained to a bag. Like, there's no way.
Luckily, this has never been an issue for us. I'm hoping and praying that that's not an issue on the tour.
Eventually, if you tour enough and go in buses, it's gonna have to happen one time.
I don't like my bandmates will not pee in bottles and shit. I don't.
What? Yeah, I don't give a fuck either.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not. They're like, you just piss in a bottle. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, they don't get it, man. They don't get it. It's fucking. I drove all night. I've got like 3 hours of sleep. I don't want to get out to go to the bathroom. There's a bottle there. I'm just gonna piss and then go back to sleep.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's so interesting that like there would be times like because my wife and I drive quite a bit to go to shows all over, and sometimes I'm like, she'll be like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I want to be like, just here you go.
I mean, get her one of them Shiwis,
Yeah.
Then she can pee in the bottle.
Yeah, I don't think she would do that even still.
I wouldn't advise it. It'd probably be a mess.
I mean, it's always. I don't know. I think touring in any capacity is just a mess of smells and body odor and just foul.
Yeah, luckily, the Planet Fitness could become like the main like savior for touring bands. We have enough guest passes and black cards that we can get in and take showers. We can shower every day.
I feel like band people are just jerking off in those motherfuckers.
That's why you got to wear sandals.
It's probably why I have some foot fungus going on right now.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I don't shower. I try not to shower next to Devin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's young and raring to go all the time. Young kids.
So good.
No, I was just making jokes about Devin being a chronic masturbator in the shower at Planet Fitness.
Hey, he's getting those extra reps in.
It keeps his wrist, the drumming wrist.
There you go.
Strong.
Yeah, that's how he's able to pull off those blast beats on occasion.
Yeah. Planet Fitness though, like I don't like venue showers. They're gross. And most of the time, even if they're nice, they're gross because they've had 20 people in them that day. And it's like I know there's probably more people that there might be more at Planet Fitness, but I don't see them coming and going. It's kind of like the out of sight, out of mind.
Out of mind. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You just be like, oh, I don't know who was in here before, but I got my slippers on. I'm not touching the walls or anything. I'm just getting. And you can take a longer shower. You're not worrying that the dudes from Devil Wears Prada. Well, that and the dudes from Devil Wears Prada or something. Like a band that's like a bigger band. Like, they want to shower, you're like, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here because I don't want them to be like, that fucking guy from Holofront's been in the shower for fucking 20 minutes.
Well, that's when you just are like, do you see all of this?
Yeah. My hair's long, but I got to put it up, you know. I only bring it out for the metal.
Yeah, that's fun. I think that would be the hardest part for me of touring is like, because I like to be relatively clean. So like, I just don't think I could not shower. Plus I am one of those people who you can tell when I haven't showered and like my hair for whatever reason just gets super fucking greasy and so does like my face and shit.
Same as mine too.
So it's like
bad.
If
after day two, I'm just like, oh fuck.
There have been times my wife literally will look at me and go, when's the last time you showered? And I'm like, yesterday. And she goes, oh, you should go shower. And I'm like, okay.
You're looking a little moist.
Yeah, that's a word. That's a word people don't like. It's so weird. So kind of one of the last questions I kind of had for you. You know, I talked about, you know, what are you looking forward to with putting out this new record? The
tours it's going to get us. That's another one. Hopefully the really big tours. That's what I'm hoping for.
What is something, because, you know, I feel like when I say this, it's not a slate. A lot of people will probably look at the success that you've had so quickly. Yeah. What is the last couple of years meant for you in spite of the probably decade or so before of the work that you put in and kind of seeing where you're at and where you want to be?
I think of this through for a second.
I've had a couple beers, so maybe that question didn't quite make sense, but
no, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to think of a succinct way of saying it. I think that all those years of being, because Holofront's my 12th band.
Yep.
So, all those failed projects before every single one taught me something.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to Holofront, I didn't take it seriously at first, and then it kind of decided that I needed it. The internet decided that it was serious, so I had to start taking it serious. I think all those years of failure, and now and I say success loosely because we're successful, but we're not there yet, and then we're not where I think there's always want more, always want to get bigger.
Yeah.
But I think that it taught me that this is just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to do with my life. And now that I actually have the chance to do it, so I can't fuck it up. Because I don't have a backup plan, to music. It's that and go back to just working 40 hours, 50 hours at a factory, which just, who the fuck wants to do that? It's miserable. You're miserable. Yeah. I'm sure there's some people that really like that kind of life, but that's just not me. Waking up and punching a clock, like this opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's not. I don't consider it success yet. It's just an opportunity. And to do the things that I've always wanted to do at a level that I dreamed of, but I never thought was a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because after we get off, I'll tell you about that tour that we're doing. That's like, holy shit. It's like, like it makes the other tours that we did, the last two ones, like makes them look just on a scale smaller, and that's how I just want to continue to prove ourselves to not only fans but people in the music industry that we're worthy, and that we're hardworking, and that we're here to stay. This isn't a gimmick. It's not a
flash in the pan.
Yeah. It's not something that we're just like trying to be out rock stars, partying, and that we're an actual legit business, that's trying to grow and sustain the livelihoods of 4 to 5 people, and so all those years that I basically played for 10 people was just one big long practice. And now we're at a level that it's like it's unreal. It's still unbelievable And yeah, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
I think that's a good place to end. It's been fun chatting with you. Like I said, it's a little bit self-indulgent on my end, just due to hitting a lot of milestones over the last like very short amount of time, and looking back at, like I said, where we were literally in this room talking about what you were excited for, what you were hoping for, and to see where you've taken your career as Holofront, as a vocalist, as just a person, has been really interesting, and I don't say this lightly, but inspiring to see, because it's one of those things where, even though, like I said, we're not both bands, we're not like paralleling each other, I do feel like there is a parallel, and it's nice to see someone like yourself, like, the Virtues, like the, Jim, even doing what he's doing with real estate. It's nice to see people locally, for me, who have success and are still kind of hungry and still kind of creating their own opportunities, and knowing that it's like, yeah, man, we fucking did that. We are putting our area on the map in our own way. We're doing something, when a lot of people talk about doing what they want to do and don't fucking do anything. And to me, it's like, that's inspiring to me, to be peripherally involved in something. And so, like, I appreciate the time tonight, and just kind of getting to reconnect and talk more than we get to, because usually when we see each other, it's like we're both getting pulled in opposite directions, right, due to other people wanting our time, and just getting to hang with people. So I was looking forward to this for that reason alone, just to kind of, pick your brain and bullshit with you for a little while.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. And 3 more years, hopefully we're massive, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it at we'll be backstage at a festival bullshitting about, like, remember when we did this in your fucking house, and how lame was that?
Hey, I like that. It was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, equally this was as well. Thanks again.
Yep.
So that was my conversation with Tyler from Holofronts. Again, want to thank him for taking the time. We had to figure out a time that worked before tour rehearsals were kind of really overtaking his life, and also time for myself, because I've been busy with house projects, as you have seen probably on socials and all that kind of stuff. No one tells you that when you buy a house, all of a sudden you're just like, what would be great if we did this to the house, or if I bought this, or I need to do this. So it seems like the projects never end. But that said, at this point, Tyler, like I said, is out with Holofront. Some of the tours the band has coming up are going to be great. I think you're going to be surprised with some of the things, but more importantly, Holofront is just hitting the road hard. They just put out a new single, Comatose. This is a band that kind of is seemingly doing all the right things, like we talked about in the conversation, not making any missteps, taking the opportunities when they arise, learning from those who are in a position to teach them. I think having Ryan from Fit for a King as their manager, I think is a great thing. And I think, obviously, he's seen a lot of different things in his time in the industry, so he can kind of help them maybe navigate and get around some of those growing pains. But it sounds like, by all accounts, the band is really taking to heart the things that they're doing, I do want to take a moment too. I know that part toward the end where Tyler says, I want to take the time to make these memories and go out into the crowd and hang out and talk to people while I still can. I know that there are probably going to be people who listen to this and be like, what an arrogant prick. And I know I even stopped in the chat and kind of addressed this, but I just really want to hammer home the point of, I don't think that that's really being egotistical. I think that that's really understanding that, as a goal-oriented person, where you are now and where you want to be, and understanding that you have to enjoy the journey you're on and be present for it. Because if you don't, then all that's going to happen is, if you end up having that success, then you're going to turn around and then be like, fuck, I wish I would have done these things. I wish I would have appreciated more of this time where I was kind of on the come up and so forth. And to me, I think that's actually a really commendable thing, and really an honest and sincere thing that Tyler said about the process that he's going through. You know, like some people will look at Tyler and Hollowfront and be like, oh, you guys fucking made it. And compared to where Tyler and almost everyone in the band has been, yes, they have made it. They made it out of the local scene. They made it out of touring regionally in the 3 conjoined states next to Michigan. But if you want to be more than that and you want to be successful in this industry, you have to keep looking forward. You have to keep setting these goals, and you have to understand that that's not all there is what's literally in front of you. You have to keep looking forward. And I think for Tyler, and I'm going to assume the rest of the band is the same way, I genuinely do think that is a really healthy way to look at it. So again, I just want to commend him for saying it and just understanding it, because I don't think people, when they hear it, I do think there's going to be a lot of what a fucking asshole. So I really do hope you understand, even now as I'm reiterating it, why it's actually kind of really cool to understand that he understands that. All of that said, let's start wrapping up this episode. We talked long enough, and the intro was kind of long enough. So if you would like to keep up with Hollowfront, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram at Hollowfront, Twitter at Hollowfront Band, and you can find Tyler on Instagram at Tyler Tate _HF. And again, yeah, look for some new music coming out for them. The full length is coming out soon. You just have to keep waiting for that. And just go bang the songs they got out. Comatose is out. You know, we still have the Still Life EP if you want to go way back and hear that. Fuck it, go back and listen to our first chat with them. It is funny to hear how nervous Tyler was to hear people's receptions to what was then kind of a new sound from him vocally and all that. So I enjoyed that. And as for me, something I actually want to talk about, thanks to Scott Bowling from Good Company for Bowling. He sent me out a couple of cans of the Beauty School Pilsner from Deftones. If you don't know, I collect all the Deftones beers. I have most of them. I save 2, and then usually I have a couple to drink. So right now I've been enjoying the couple extra cans I have of this. And it's kind of funny because most everything that Deftones has put out has been more of the stouts, porters, ales, and stuff like that. So this is kind of one of the first more, I'll call easy drinkers that they put out. And I'm going to say this might be my favorite just for that alone, just because you can drink this and it's not overwhelming. Like when I'm done with this 16-ounce can, I could drink another one and be like, all right, let's keep these going. I could actually see this being something that gets a wider release and could actually stay around year round, as opposed to being more of a seasonal release like the rest of them. This is definitely, for a band beer who's played around with different flavors as the Deftones have, to see something be so easily drinkable instead of trying to be so far down the craft beer world or like down the craft beer rabbit hole of like, it's crazy flavors, it's these things. To do something so well and execute it so well with just an easy drinker is really commendable and really awesome. And I kind of hope, like I said, that this is something that kind of stays around and becomes just a regular production beer. I think it is that good. And the graphics on the can are very striking too. I know it's just a face and some lips and stuff like that, but it's a very clean design for a very clean beer. So if you're in the distribution area of this, I would strongly recommend picking one up. It has been a very surprising beer for me out of all the Deftones beer and all the band beers I have. So that is my recommendation. That is what I'm drinking currently. And for the Brutally Speaking podcast, if you would like to keep up with us, simple enough, brewspeakpod.com on all the socials. I am kind of working on a TikTok thing. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it's BrewSpeakPod over there as well. Add me, I guess. I don't know what the fuck you do on TikTok. I'm just probably going to post random things over there, podcast clips and maybe me working on the podcast. I don't know. I don't know what people want to see. So hit me up, email me, brutallyspeaking@gmail.com, and let me know what you think. Thanks to our sponsors, rockabilly.com, On Point Pomade, Bean Bastard. If you go in the show notes or if you listen to the show all the way in the beginning, you heard the promo codes. That'll save you some money. You can see those there too. So for the Brutally Speaking podcast, I am John, and I will see you all next week with a really fun chat with JT from Era. That was a fun one. We kind of go all over the place. We talked about doing Shipped, as a job between the two of us. That's actually how the conversation started, and was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to getting that one out to you. So until next week, enjoy the rest of yours, and I'll see you then.